been very interesting, and I learned some really valuable life lessons that I'd love to share with you, especially if you're worried about turning 30 or about to turn 30. People start freaking out a lot when they approach 30. What if I told you that your 30s can be more liberating and better than your 20s? You're probably thinking,
Yeah, it's exactly what a 30-year-old would say, but it's true.
Lesson number 1. Actions will always speak louder than words. Measure a person's character by their actions and not what comes out of their mouth. That has been a big lesson I've learned in my 30s. People can talk a lot of empty words and promises. We live in the age of lip service. People can sell you on the fact that maybe they've changed or they have character or integrity, but what do their actions say? Do they have any real fruit in their life to prove that they're the kind of person that they say that they are? Or are they just really good at talking? What about you? Do your actions back up what you say? This transitions pretty nicely into lesson number 2. Friendships are for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. I probably had the biggest shift in friendships in my 30s that I think I've ever had in my whole life. In your 20s, it's usually about quantity. You seem to have a lot of friends. You seem to either have one big group of friends or a lot of different groups of friends. There just seems to be a lot of them. In your 30s, it becomes about quality. And you probably find that your friendship circles shrink a lot. And that's okay. And actually, it's probably healthy. People will talk a lot about being your friend, but so rarely will they show you that they want to be your friends, that they want to have you in their life. I still get tripped up on this one, honestly. And it's a lesson I feel like I have to relearn every single year. I'm naturally someone who likes to go all in for the people I care about. I get myself into a lot of one-sided relationships. Counseling has been a really big reality check for me on this one because I realize how much I do get into one-sided friendships. So I'm actually learning at the moment to refocus on the people who meet me in the middle when it comes to friendships. Sometimes in your 30s, you actually have to re-educate yourself on what it means to be a friend and how to be a friend. And that's because the relationships that we had in our teens, even in our 20s, when we were at school or university, wherever, are going to be very different to the friendships you cultivate in your 30s. So there's going to have to be a little bit of re-education there. Most friendships, as much as we don't want to admit it, don't stand the test of time. A lot of them are there to maybe teach you a lesson or provide something special that you needed in that season. And that's okay. Embrace this. Don't try and keep every friendship past its expiry date. Celebrate it for what it was to you and how it enriched your life. And if it's an unhealthy, toxic friendship, then I would ask you, why are you holding on to it so tightly? Lesson number 3. Comparison is a killer and a thief. Everyone has their own unique journey. You've probably seen that in my intro. There's a specific reason why I put that line in there. My life looks nothing like how I imagined it to be when I drew up my 10-year plan at the tender age of 20 of where I'd be in my 30s. I've had a very unique journey compared to most people I know my age, and that's okay. The world seems to have its own set of milestones that everyone has to reach by like 25 and 30 and 35, or else you're seen as weird, broken, a failure, unworthy. I felt all of those things because my life looks so different compared to my peers. I kept comparing my own unique situation over and over again, and it robbed me of a lot. And other people, probably out of their own insecurity, also made me feel bad and ashamed for where I was at too. But I've had to learn to just brush it off and get on with my journey and not try to worry about theirs. Can I control the fact that I got severely chronically sick 7 years ago and my life pretty much changed overnight? No, I can't. I can't control that as much as I would like to. But what I can do is I can control how I react to what life throws at me, which is also a part of self-leadership. If you can relate to this, you're not alone. I know it seems like you are. I felt alone for a long time. There's more of us than you know, but I think some of us have kept quiet about it for a long time because we felt ashamed and embarrassed. I know I did, but please, stop comparing yourself. Nothing good will ever come out of comparison. That is a life lesson for everyone, whether you are in your 20s, 30s, 60s, whatever. Nothing good ever comes from comparison. If you haven't, I'd highly recommend you watch my previous video on perfectionism. It has a lot of good stuff in there if you're struggling with the comparison trap. Don't let comparison steal one more minute of your life. Lesson number 4. When people show you who they are, believe them. People are usually pretty easy to figure out. I don't know why there's this misconception that humans are so complicated. In my 30s, I realized I had traded being comfortable and naive for some really toxic and unhealthy relationships. Also, if someone is saying stuff to you about someone else, I can guarantee that they are saying things about you behind your back to others as well. When people show you who they are, believe them, and that kind of person is definitely showing you who they are. There seems to be a resounding lesson over this video of paying attention to people's actions and not their words. And I think as you get older, you start to take off those rose-tinted glasses that we like to keep on and get a reality check of how most people are. Sometimes we need to get a reality check of the kind of person that we are. The beauty is, right, you have the choice of who you allow into your life. Lesson number 5. Don't be more loyal to a past that no longer exists. So this actually is a quote I heard just before I turned 30, and it really changed my life, and it is constantly changing my life year after year. The full quote is by a woman called Caine. Don't be more loyal to a past that no longer exists than to a future waiting to be discovered. People change, the rules change, seasons change. God will stay the same yesterday, today, and forever. I came to the earth-shattering realization at the beginning of my 30s that I was forever being more loyal to a past that no longer existed. Relationships that had ended, wounds that had scabbed over, dreams that had died for whatever reason, then I was to my future. The moment of clarity I got from this quote literally changed my life. I believe this is not just a quote for my 30s, but this is a quote for my life. If we're being honest here, I still catch myself being more loyal to what I wish could have been or my disappointments in life, thinking somehow I could go back and change things when I can't. And the worst thing that you can do is get stuck forever living in the past and never really embracing the future that you have and the future you have yet to write. You can't go back and rewrite time. You can't go back and change your actions. You can't go back and bring people back from the dead. As much as I would love to and as much as I wish that I could, the past is the past. Part of being an adult is choice and actually choosing to live in your future and stop living in your past. If someone hasn't said this to you ever, I'm so sorry that your life hasn't worked out how you thought it would. I really genuinely am. You know, I used to grieve a lot about what could have been, but at some point I had to come to a crossroads. I still had the choice of what I was going to do with the future that I have. Even if it's not how I planned, even if it's not what I dreamed, I still have something to offer. And it's my responsibility, especially as an adult, to do the best with what I have. Your 20s are learning that you have a choice. Your 30s are learning to make the right choices. It's never too late to choose to embrace the future that you have. It's never too late to stop clinging on to the past. My hope is that you don't figure that out when you are like 90, so you can start living the life that you have. It might not be what you wanted, it might not be what you asked for, but this is it. And if you're someone that wants to thrive in your life, then it starts now with this choice. And there is hope there. As much as it might seem dark and awful and a nightmare, there is still hope. There is still a future for you. Don't give up. I hope you found this video helpful. It's never too late to start, and I'll see you in the next one.
I'm running out of time, every day goes by so fast. And every moment counts, baby, I don't wanna miss a thing. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars, or hang out in hotel bars, driving somewhere in your car. We can sleep under the stars, we can sleep under the stars.